Hey guys, Roy here from Roy Cruz Photo, and today we are in Tongyeong, South Korea, more specifically at Namangsan Park, which is a beautiful art space as well as a performance venue, and it also has a great view of the Tongyeong Harbor, so it's a perfect place to do some photography. And in this video, we're going to check out some more vintage lenses. You may recall a previous video that I did about M42 lenses adapted to my Fujifilm X cameras. Today we're going to do something similar, but this time with Olympus OM lenses. Now, as you probably already know, mirrorless cameras have breathed new life into vintage lenses, and this is due mainly to the fact that manual focus lenses are so much easier to use on mirrorless cameras thanks to the focusing aids that they provide, especially focus peaking, which is my favorite. Now, adapting old lenses to your modern mirrorless camera body is a whole lot of fun to do because you get to experiment with different focal lengths, different types of lenses, but a lot of the time it's not very expensive relative to, you know, what a modern lens would cost. And it's not just for Fuji cameras, it's for any kind of mirrorless body, the Sonys, the Panasonic, the Olympus. Just find an adapter for your lens and you're good to go. Today we're going to be looking at some Olympus OM lenses. Now, the OM system was Olympus's first foray into the full-frame film SLR system back in the 70s. Now, these particular lenses have been in my family for a long time. My dad got them when he was doing research at the university, and he needed to do some macro photography, so he got an old Olympus OM film body and these three lenses. And I recently took them out of storage and had them inspected and serviced, and now they're fully functional, and I've been having a lot of fun with them. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the lenses themselves. The first one of the three is the Olympus OM Zuiko MC multi-coat auto W, auto wide 28mm f2.8, okay, which means it's a 40mm on the APS-C, which is a nice walk-around focal length. And the f2.8 is fairly fast, making it pretty useful in low light as well. Next lens is the OMG Zuiko. OMG. The G supposedly means 7 lens elements. G Zuiko Auto S f1.4. And if you're wondering about the auto, no, it is not autofocus. It actually means auto diaphragm, which means the lens aperture stays open until you take the photo, which is pretty much what all modern lenses do. And everybody loves a fast prime, so this was one of the first released with the Olympus OM system. Now the last one, oops, a little cap came off. Anyways, this is 2 parts. Let's show you the actual lens itself. This is the Olympus OM Zuiko Auto Macro 50mm f3.5. And this is a macro lens, obviously, and it focuses quite closely at 1:2 reproduction. Some would argue that it's not true macro, but that's what this is for. This is the Olympus Auto 25mm extension tube, which brings the magnification to a nice 1:1, which gives this lens combination full macro capability, and we'll be testing them out a little later. Okay, now let's take a look at the adapter. This is an Olympus OM to Fuji X adapter. Now, this is a generic one. There are plenty of options available, but this one I chose because it is a tilt adapter. So basically, let's put this lens on. When you have this lens mounted, you can tilt it. I'm sure you've heard of tilt shift lenses. This is the tilt part. And tilting actually allows you to tilt the focal plane, which gives you out of focus areas when doing the miniature effect. or selective focus in portraits. And we'll be definitely looking at this function later on. So just to give you a closer look at how the adapter operates, basically have this ring here that tilts it, tilt that. You can also rotate the entire lens so that you can tilt up, down, sideways, diagonally. So you've got the plane of focus, horizontal, diagonal, or vertical for more options. And today we're going to be testing all these lenses on the Fujifilm X-T2 for both stills and video. Alright, so the first lens we'll be working with is the 28mm f2.8, and this is roughly the equivalent of a 40mm on APS-C. Alright, so I'm rolling video right now on the X-T2, shooting an F-Log. We'll be grading an Eterna to match the footage of the XH1, which is also recording on Eterna at the moment. So that's our main video camera. So right now, we've got this scene below, which is a fishing boat. The main subject is the fishing boat in the bottom right corner there, with the men working, fixing their nets. So we've got this is f2.8. As you can see, it's quite sharp, using focus peaking. All right, we are using focus peaking, and yeah, pretty easy to achieve focus. Very sharp, wide open. All right, so interesting. We've got this boat coming through here. Now, while this boat is going through, we're going to do, this is the fun part, we're going to tilt the lens. I'm going to do it all the way, okay? So this, as you can see, the footage has now become selective focused. Okay, so we've got, yeah, we've got the selective focus on the boat that just pulled up here and is making a lot of noise. In this particular case, the tilt lens really makes a difference, and it really helps direct your eye and also kind of give that miniature kind of effect. So let's take a photo. Okay, going back into video mode, and now just for fun, I'm going to show you how the vertical selective focus looks. So I'm rotating the lens here, 2, 3 clicks, and that should get us pretty much vertical here. Okay, so racking focus on the vertical right here. So we've got that vertical selective focus. Now, one thing I want to note about this this adapter is it's not perfect. There are some little quirks when it comes to mounting lenses. Because the adapter pretty much rotates freely, you have to grab it in a certain way so that when you mount the lens, it doesn't keep rotating like so, and you know, you kind of miss it. But you just have to grab it. If I can find the setting there. Okay, and there you have the lens mounted. It's also the same for mounting the adapter on the camera. Because of that design, where it freely rotates, you got to be careful just to make sure that you have it locked in to the mount. Alrighty, so the next lens we're going to test is the 50mm f1.4. Nice fast prime in this lineup. So let's see, let's find a nice composition here, and as you can see right off the bat, wide open, this lens does lack a bit of contrast, and it looks kind of soft, but you know, it might be what you want, especially for portraits. Okay, so if we stop it down, improves that. Okay, so there it is. Okay. So let's try tilting the lens. Okay. Okay, full tilt. Now when it comes to tilting, I use either full or no tilt. There's the middle settings are okay, but you know, to get the full effect, you'll want to be at either extreme anyway. So here we go. We've got, let's follow this guy. Oop, there's a tree. All right, so we've got selective focus again. F2. Let's do F2. So panning, following this boat right here coming through the harbor. Nice selective focus, nice miniature effect there. Alright. Focusing back on the fisherman down below. Yeah. And let's find something else up there. Panning up, or tilting up. So I do like those, the trio of boats in the farther area over there. So let's take a photo of that with the tilt lens. It's no longer a trio. Someone else came to join them. Let's see here. Oh, this is cool. Let's get this boat coming right here through the middle. It's kind of cool. All right. So the miniature effect works really well from this vantage point. Okay, and for our last lens for this test, we've moved to another location in the park since we'll be testing macro. Now this is the 50mm f3.5 macro with the 25mm extension tube. All right, so let's check this out. So this is the closest that this particular lens can focus. And as you can see, every small movement is recorded, which is definitely a challenge for macro photography. Let's open it up. f3.5. It's windy. So there's f3.5. Now generally for macro photography you want to stop down a bit in terms of the aperture, so let's go to f8. It's f8 so you get more things in better focus. Okay. Let's do a little panning shot here. So you can do some pretty serious macro work with this particular lens. I love it because macro isn't something I generally do, but since getting this lens, I've been playing around with it, and it's very interesting stuff. Let's see. Okay. So let's take a photo. And even the slightest movement from the camera or the tripod, it just throws everything out of focus. So you might be curious what it looks like when you tilt with this particular lens. It's not very useful, actually. Let's see. So, everything is pretty much... Okay, well, you do get a little bit there, but... Wow. But generally, the tilt function isn't something you would really use with a macro lens, because it's so hard to get anything in focus to begin with. But I guess it's possible. Let's do some vertical. Let's turn 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's see. And tilting this macro lens, like, you can really see the movement of the lens too. So let's see. Full tilt. Always gotta go full tilt. Okay. Stop it down a little bit. There it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed that test of the 3 lenses, and I hope that it was able to show off the capabilities of each lens, as well as the tilt adapter. So some thoughts about these Olympus lenses in particular. The OM lenses are a little bit more modern than the M42 lenses that I tested before, which means that they perform a little bit closer to current lenses we have today, which makes them more useful for the toolkit. Even for professional work, I think I'll be using these lenses in my professional work, especially that macro, because I don't have a dedicated Fuji macro lens. Now overall, I think we've shown once again that old lenses, vintage lenses, classic lenses, whatever you want to call them, are definitely not dead, and they have a place in the modern camera bag. And if you want more information, the blog post is linked in the description below. I get into more specifics about each lens, and there are also a lot more sample photos in that blog post, so do check that out. Speaking of sample images, I'm going to end this video with some sample images that I've taken with the Olympus OM lenses over the past few months, and I hope you enjoy those. Again, this has been Roy from Roy Cruz Photo. Thank you for watching, and take care.